The Devil's Mouth, directed by Jeff Wadlow, starring a whole bunch of people, but the ones you might most recognize are Kathryn Newton. I am a fan of Kathryn Newton. I've loved her in quite a few things. Lisa Frankenstein. She was in, I can't remember the name of that vampire girl movie, but she was in that. She's been in a lot of things recently, and Ready or Not 2. A lot of times she's the second banana, but I think she has a lot of charisma, and I really like her in a lot of stuff. I think she's just waiting for that movie that'll really let her break out and people really notice her. We also have Lana Condor, and she plays Max. And then we have Gavin Casalegno, I don't know how to say it, and a bunch of other people. But really the two main ones here are going to be Max and Sarah, Kathryn Newton and Lana. And it's a shark movie, so that should be the first thing you know. The Devil's Mouth refers to a cave. I didn't write down where it was, Indonesia, somewhere over there. And they're basically a bunch of teenagers, young 20-somethings, I should say, all out partying. It almost has a White Lotus vibe at the first part of this movie, where you're feeling like, just a bunch of spoiled rich kids that are out on a big fancy vacation together. Two couples and one single. And the single is our main character, which is Sarah, Kathryn Newton. And they're all out to go on this tour. And one of the things they're going to do is they're going to go on this swimming, not really diving as much, but they're swimming through this cave to see the Devil's Mouth, which is the name of this certain part of the cave where the stalagmites or whatever hang down and makes the opening of the cave look like a mouth. And before they get there, there's a quick incident where they're on a boat and they're all swimming and partying, and they accidentally start driving away without Kathryn Newton, and she gets surrounded by jellyfish and gets stung really bad. And there's this whole subplot of her being left behind by her friends and how she doesn't feel appreciated and that they wouldn't be there for her, that thing. I guess it's to build some character development, so when the shark stuff happens that we're all concerned about who lives and dies. And this leads to my main thing about this movie, and that is, why is it that people can't make a fun, gory shark movie? I know it happens occasionally, but occasionally we get good ones. We had a pretty decent shark movie last year. What was it called? It had a very forgettable name, but it was the one where the guy was a serial killer, basically using sharks. That was really good. Deadly Animals, I think it might have been called. We've had a few here and there over the years that have been really fun, but there's so many shark movies. How can you make them wrong? Can't you make just at least a basic, fun, campy shark movie? I think of it in the same category of something like Evil Dead movies, for example. The Evil Dead movies are consistently at least giving you what you want. They may not all be the best. Some might be better than others. Some might be more your style than others. But if you go into an Evil Dead movie, you're going to get some possessed people, some crazy gore, some really weird effects, maybe something that's funny or something both gross and funny, something like that. And I always think of animal attack movies and shark attack movies, and they almost always do them wrong. And I don't get why it's so hard to do them right. They're not extremely expensive. In fact, the money they're spending, this is like a pretty decent level budget movie. It's not going to be a huge in the theater movie, but it's got some known actors. It's got some locales. They spent money to go to this location. They've got some decent underwater footage. I mean, it's a CGI shark, and it's fine. It doesn't look terrible. It's whatever. But why not just have a lot of shark carnage? It's not that hard. And that's what we came for, shark carnage. And this movie almost feels in some ways like a PG-13 movie. It's not, but it almost feels like it, because it almost feels like a Nickelodeon version of a shark movie, where it's like you got all these characters, they're all good-looking young people, and they're all just sort of generic, which is really a disservice to a couple great, between Lana Condor and Kathryn Newton. You got a couple great characters here, a couple actors, and even they have some pretty decent chemistry together as friends. You could easily care about them as much as you need to for a shark attack movie. They've got an interesting enough setting. They're in this interconnected cave system, and each cave has some different characteristics. One's full of bats, and one has a bunch of dead fish in it from a recent flooding event. There's a whole reason that the shark ends up in this cave system, which is okay, fine. You just have to make an excuse for the shark to be there. It works. That's all you need. But then, once that happens, have the shark attack people. a lot. Make it almost should be like they're in this cave, and I feel like it should feel when you're at home and you're a little kid and you're playing The Floor is Lava or something. And it's like, if you touch the floor, you're touching lava. So you've got to work your way around like the couch cushions and the chairs and climb on the tables and all this stuff when you're a little kid, right? But this movie, it's like the water should be lava. Once they know the shark is there and it's attacking people, which does take way too long in this movie, once again, it's one of those basic mistakes of animal attack horror movies. Get to it. It doesn't get to it very quickly. Anyway, once they know it's there, they should be afraid to be close to the water, definitely afraid to be in the water. And sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're just out swimming around there doing stuff, and there seems to be no threat. Other times, the minute they hit the water, the shark's like jumping out and attacking people. So I don't understand the rules of the shark. They don't seem to understand the rules of the shark, and they don't seem to really care consistently. They don't. Sometimes they are like worried the minute they drop into the water, and other times they're just swimming around like they're not that freaked out about it. That's another thing, like rules. Like, what are the rules of this shark? Is the shark targeting them? Is it ravenous? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not what sharks actually do, but even if it doesn't matter, it's a shark attack movie. We're going to come in and go like, okay, I'm going to assume that this shark, for whatever reason, is rabid or something, and it just wants to eat and kill people. That's all I need to believe. And then once that happens, let's have tense scene after tense scene of crazy shark trying to attack people. And it doesn't even seem to get that right. And that's what really is disappointing in a movie like this, where it has a lot of stuff going for it, and it just doesn't seem to know how to get there. And once again, you can't create, okay, I would prefer to not be CGI effects, but you could create some cool gore CGI effects, or even better, create some great practical effects. How hard is it to have a scene with, I don't know, a shark just ripping a leg off, and then the person's like bleeding and they have to stop them from bleeding, or the shark will be attracted again, or that kind of stuff. It's not that hard to figure out. That's one thing I'll give. There's that movie a few years ago. I forget what it was called, but it was by I forget the director. I think it's the director that did Hills Have Eyes and the remake. And he also did Haute Tension, I think. It's Alexandre Aja. Could be right. He did, there was this underwater Paris shark attack movie. It was really dumb. It wasn't great, but it still had some really bonkers gonzo moments. So it gave you, it was like partway there. And at least it was relatively fun for that kind of a movie. And this movie is about the same level of production, but it's about half the level of fun that had. And that was like, I don't know, like 3-star, 3.5-star banger. So unfortunately, as much as I wanted to really enjoy just the ride of this movie, the ride wasn't very exciting. Instead of being a roller coaster, I was on a little kids roller coaster. And it was just like, ooh, there's a tiny little hill. There's a bump. Hey, if I was 2, I'd enjoy it, but I'm not 2. So I guess I'm going to give it some credit because the characters were pretty likable. The scenes were well filmed. It was a pretty good setting. Overall, I liked all that stuff. So I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. This should have been a easy 3.5 to 4-star movie with just some fun shark mayhem. And they couldn't pull that off for some reason. So 2.5 stars is what I'm giving The Devil's Mouth. Hey, you're bored. It's on Prime. There's nothing else to do. Watch the first 5 minutes to figure out who the characters are. Fast forward about 45 minutes and then watch the second half of the movie and you'll probably be fine. You won't miss anything. You'll know what's going on. They're just in the water. The sharks are eventually going to show up. That's it.